Cradle, Dogs of Fount, Chapter 32, Part 1. That's, interesting, Commander Henson said. They were all in a subdued conference room with grays, blues, and blacks. Henson occupied one side of the white table himself, and Lou, Nate, and Heather the other. So it was 2.5 weeks of fighting and you still had no idea who they were? No, sir, Lou answered. They had the gear and training of a real, force, but they weren't Fountains. Not Atlians either. I know them when I see them. They all sat in the silence that was usual with Henson. Nate could sense his reliance on the written word of documents. Nate was anxious to get out because it was obvious it was Cyphus' army and everyone there knew that. Henson was just making extra sure to cover his butt. Nate clicked his clear blue pen rapidly and got a look from Heather. What I don't understand is how you all got away so easily from the plant in the forest. Sure, it was a coordinated attack, but there had to be more of them, Henson posited. Lou shook his head, black hair bouncing. We wore them down, whittled them down to the last 10, and ended it. We weren't followed or tracked. I used a bug sensor that I know works. I trusted, and even sent a drone I found in the trunk to track us. Used the camera to see if we had a tail. Nothing, sir. Another one of Henson's annoying pauses to read. Finally, he sighed, took off his glasses, and set them on the table. We still have to analyze everything on that core stick. There was a lot of data taken off that soldier's screen. Some of it was encrypted. Well, fine. You all are dismissed. You're ordered to stay near due to possible deployment. You know where? Nate asked, sitting up now. Currently classified. Dismissed. All of them went down to the burger joint in headquarters above the drowsy mezzanine. Lou had lost lots of weight, but with the meal he ordered, he'd probably gain it back in short order. Nate was crunching on fries while Heather was quietly taking small bites of her burger. I thought you guys were dead, Lou said with food in his mouth. Thought you were dead too, Nate said with a grunting laugh. How did they break up the team in the first place, Lou asked. Dude, they dropped a nuke on the city. We all got scattered on cleanup duty, Heather said like it was hard to believe what the mystery was. But yeah, still units are units, Lou said. Drop it, man, she's right. The chiefs knew they had a window to get stuff done, and they scrambled up the personnel and equipment just to make sure the radiation cloud and water pollution didn't wipe us all out. It was a frenzy, but I'm glad it worked, Nate explained. Yeah, downtown's still flat, Lou said and stuffed some fries in his mouth. You think? Heather said, putting one boot on the empty chair between her and Nate. So, what do you guys think is next? I'm clearly out of the loop, Lou asked. I don't know. Maybe me and Heather go back to Fount. They might decide to put us back on the mission to plant the broadcast spy gear, whatever the funk, in Cyphus' base. Who knows, Nate said. You want to go back there so bad, don't you, Nate? Lou and Nate burst out laughing. Heather shook her head and smirked. If you'd been inside, you still have questions like us, and I want to smack that smugness off that nerd's dang face, Nate added. You know you won't see him if you are just planting a glorified bug. You'd be in and out in the shadows and stuff, Lou explained. Nate nodded as he sucked on the straw from his medium vanilla shake. The coldness of the mix was causing his glossy paper cut to sweat. Can't let a brother dream, Nate asked. Lou laughed and continued eating. They all ate for a few moments without talking, but it was pleasant for Nate to have his friend back. He was truly grateful that Lou was still alive, and of course the rest of the guys too. He could see the growth in Lou. He had become a true leader and less of a kid that Nate met in the basement when they were all just reverse refugees and not true warriors. They were out on a large paved expanse outside of the headquarters with the sun setting in a hazy orange between the Wick Forest and base apartments, which reflected orange on glass and concrete.